Hello everyone, Nikki Becquerel D'Angelo here for another one of my Kerbal Space Program videos, and we'll just call this one Let's Play Kerbal Space Program version 5, episode 3. I don't know what to call it. I've restarted this game very many times because it's been in alpha and beta for so long, but now it's released. What we have here now is we have quite a unique mission because it's early on in our space program. We have a mission to test the Terrier engine, which is a small engine that will be in my upper stage, and to take a tourist into orbit. Alright, so that should be easy, right? Well, it's not going to be easy because I think I don't have enough Delta V in this initial stage to actually make it into orbit with it. So we're probably going to have to pass on the Terrier engine, and I'm going to have to build a more efficient design for the next try at that. But what we're going to be doing is taking this wonderful Kerbal up here with Valentina and launch him up into space and see how he reacts. Tourists are a good way of making some extra money in the game and also getting some extra reputation. Reputation is a big deal because it will depict what kind of missions that you'll get. You should notice as I'm getting higher and higher, I'm starting to chase that velocity vector, the little circle indicating my prograde orbit marker. And the reason I do that is because I want to have a flatter trajectory. I want to be going almost flat by the time I hit 40k or 40 kilometers. Reason for this is you do save a lot of fuel, and I am trying to make it into space on this one engine, though I used way too flat of a curve here. You'll see I'm only at 28k and I'm already well past the 60 degree, or getting close to the 60 degree mark. One of the good things is you do get an opportunity to push this out a lot, and that is a big deal for us because as we push out that apoapsis from us, it gives us a bigger opportunity to actually get this ship into orbit. We are burnt out on stage 1. We do have to launch it. And we are going to go into stage 2 at this point. Alright, so up here at 75k, we're going to create a maneuvering node, which I don't believe we have that ability at this point. I think Valentina and Jebediah need a couple of more opportunities at getting XP before they'll be able to do that. I think they have to be level 2 before they can actually do maneuvering nodes. Very important to use the right Kerbal for the right job. So scientists should always be manning the science modules and getting science. Pilots should always be flying. It's not always going to go that way. Early on, you don't have a lot of two-person cockpits, which is why I built this kind of a Frankenstein of a ship. You've got the Mk1 capsule, I believe it is, the Mercury-like capsule. And then you got a bigger fighter type, I guess it's a cockpit for an aircraft. This was a design that I've been playing with over on the Mac version of the game, and it's done very well for me. I've liked it, the way that it operates on the Mac version of the game, which I play on my iMac. I've been able to get deep into the tech tree, and I'm frequently bringing some tourists up with me on suborbital and orbital flights. However, now they all want to go to the moon and fly by Minmus, which is quite a bit more difficult. Though I have done it, it is difficult. Right about now, I decided that why am I going to waste my time trying to do an orbit with this Kerbal when all he really wanted was a suborbital flight? And since I'm not going to be able to get the Terrier tested, I decided let's just do a shorter flight. So on the ball, I should say, while in space, while flying the mission, kind of like a quarterback that calls an audible when he sees the defense in a position that may be detrimental to the play they're calling, or a better opportunity somewhere else or with another play. I called an audible and I decided that I was just going to cut this flight short and jump right onto the next one. And that's a good deal because then you get to see 2 flights here. So we're in the dark, and that's really bad. I don't think it makes for good video when you're in the dark. What does happen, though, is you do get some really good atmosphere effects, and you'll see that in just a few moments, as we start falling through the 35,000 meter layer. That's about when your ship starts to heat up. In this case, we've actually fallen into the 25,000 meter layer, and we are whipping into the atmosphere here. And I've got myself a lot of fuel in the engine, so we're going to try to slow it down. You can see us pulling 2, 3, 4, 5 Gs. Very uncomfortable. Here we are hitting, breaking through the sound barrier. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to get it into the shallows just off the shore. And there we go. This should be a very nice landing for us. Getting the last little bit of science that we can get, and we're going to try to land this as softly as we can because we're going a little bit fast and we don't want anything to break away here. We want to keep as much of these funds, as much of the ship as we can. So just trying to keep it down under 5. I think this engine busts around there because it is shallow water and I don't want to hit the bottom and break the engine. So I'll bring up the engine just a little bit more, and yep, it floats, and spin them right up top again. And that's it. That was the end of this particular mission. Let's go on to the next one and see what happens. So now we've built this beast of a rocket, taken off the second cockpit, and what we're going to try to do is just use this one to try to get us high into orbit before we have to fire the Terrier engine. And let's see if this works. Not all of the videos I show you are going to be 100%. And I promise later on I'll start speeding up time when I'm sitting on the launch pad so we can do this in daylight from now on. Alright, so we've got 4 Rockamax now. And that doesn't always mean that you're going to go faster. But what I've done is I'm staggering the order of launch of them. And there we go. We fired the other 2. Did you see that? We fired 2 and then the other 2. We're going to try to use it to get us up to speed. We don't need to get over 300 meters a second while we're low in the atmosphere because it will just make us a little bit more heated up and cause more drag on the ship. As soon as you start seeing those atmospheric effects, you know there's a lot of drag. So we've gotten rid of our 4... Yep, we've got rid of our 4 different Rockamax boosters. And we're going to try right from this point, which is just about 12 to 13 kilometers, to see if we can get into orbit with this engine. And thus be able to fire off the Terrier, which, do you notice anything? The Terrier's not connected, guys. You see that? I did this thinking I was going to get into orbit and be able to fire off that Terrier engine. When in actuality what I was doing here in 2020 hindsight is trying to bring our tourist up to the second part of his flight plan, his itinerary. His first one was a suborbital flight. His second one is an orbital flight. So we have gotten him his suborbital flight, and now we are going to get him his orbital flight. That should be the end of this mission. As we push this over, I don't think I realized at this point, look at that, we're way high, turning off our, turned off our engine there, and now we should have a lot less to fire up in at our apoapsis to be able to get into orbit. Alright, let's speed up from here. I see something here, and it's that, oh my lord, I made a mistake again. I am not doing an orbital flight in this one. I have so many of these backed up to talk about. What I decided here was just to get this contract done. I had 2 Kerbals to bring into orbit, and well, bring into suborbital trajectory and back safely. What I did with this one was I attempted to try to make it an orbital flight by putting all that extra boosters on it, and it didn't work. I didn't want to risk getting into orbit and then not being able to get back. There's just not enough fuel in that rocket for that to happen. Or maybe there was. If I had a add-on like Kerbal Engineer, it would have told me. But I'm trying to do this lock, stock, and barrel, you know. So it's more like what you would have should you start playing this tomorrow. So the big deal here is we're going to try to get back, and we're going to try to recover as much of the ship as we can. That's going to mean breaking the game or exploiting something in the game that actually wouldn't be real. Here we are entering the atmosphere, and you'll see the whole ship is starting to speed up. And what I'm doing is I'm just rotating it on 2 axes. You see that? Spinning it on 2 axes, and it's slowing it down because I got the fins on the back. So it's kind of stalling it out from doing that, from hitting the aerodynamic forces, real hard. You also see that the G forces go way up from time to time. So we get it to the point where we can slow it down enough to open the chutes, and we're going to try to save as much of this ship as we can, landing in water in the dark, which again is not the perfect viewing angle for this. So we're facing up. There we go. We were pointing straight down, and obviously that was because we built this rocket a little heavy in the nose. So slowing down little by little. Doesn't it look like an X-15 almost? It does, right? So slowing down little by little, and hopefully we keep it in one piece. Let's see. No, look at that. And they never fixed that one physics thing, which is well, they did. It stopped bouncing. That's pretty cool. So we're going to recover it, and that should be the end of this video. So essentially what I'm showing you here is that not always do things work out the way you expect. In this video, I had many failures in the beginning, and essentially when I set out to do quite a number of things at once, I wound up doing just one thing, which was just to get my Taurus into space and back again. Now, I did make a lot of reputation here, gained a lot of reputation, gained a little bit of XP, which is important, and I saved a bunch of money by being able to recover the different parts of the ship. And I've got to actually fly this piece. There I go. Let's fly it. Let's recover it. And I don't think we're going to get anything back for it, because now it's not part of the rest of the spaceship. I think it's just going to be no money at all. Yeah, no money at all. That was just a sad ending to a otherwise marginally successful couple of missions. I promise you in the future when I do these videos, we'll start doing them in daylight instead of at night. I'm trying not to accelerate through time so much, because while you're accelerating, the clock is ticking down on the different missions that you take. So we should have enough science for at least one more item. I think we have 20. No, we might not have enough, do we? No, we have nothing. Yeah, nothing. Well, folks, that's the end of this episode, and I'll be back in a few days with another episode of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program with Batgirl. Everyone take care, and you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.